Hello, hello. I'm Morgan.
I'm Tuesday, and you're listening to the Naughty Girls podcast, the show that deep dives into early 2000s pop culture.
We are so excited to have you back this week. Oh my goodness.
I'm so excited to be back.
Now, before we dive into our headlines of the week, did you want to give our listeners a little update on how you're doing?
Yes, for sure. So, first of all, your girl had a little tiny jaw surgery done, and it left me looking like Jay Leno for a couple of weeks. I'm not even kidding. But the recovery really wasn't too bad. I just kind of looked very swollen, and I'm happy to finally be back to talking and eating normally again. So there was that. And then also at the beginning of the month, I went back to school full time because now I'm working on getting my master's degree. So I've been going through a very interesting transition period, I guess, but all the changes have been pretty positive so far.
Yes, you've definitely been through a lot these past couple of months, and I've missed you so much. Today's actually the first day that we've spoken to each other in over a month, so it feels really good to catch up
Oh,
and
yeah.
we've texted, of course, but it's so good to hear your voice again. And I'm so glad that everything went smoothly with the surgery and your recovery afterwards. And also super proud of you for going back to school to pursue your master's.
Thank you. And I missed you too. Although I must say, you absolutely killed it with the solo episode last time. And Ryan really gave me a run for my money on the Newlyweds episode. I also think we should have him back to elaborate on those 9/11 theories he brought up.
Oh boy, yeah, that could turn into like a 3 hour episode, but definitely open to it. I'm sure he would be stoked to come on and chat about 9/11 and all his theories. But today is actually more or less a follow-up to our Newlyweds episode where we talked about Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. And today is all about Ashlee Simpson, Jessica's younger sister. And trust us, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, so Ashlee Simpson had a really short-lived career trajectory in the early 2000s, and she got her start basically by piggybacking off of Jessica's success. Now, I'll admit I was a fan, but there was also a lot we didn't know about her at the time.
Yes, so we'll be diving into how Ashlee's whole persona was manufactured to set her apart from Jessica and how that even meant having a fake rivalry with her sister.
But first, let's get into our headlines of the week. Morgan, if you were a 2000 celebrity on the cover of a tabloid this week, what would the headline say?
The jewel thief.
What, okay, what do you mean?
So basically, the other day I was sitting at our table, I was writing thank you cards for our wedding, and I happened to look down and I noticed that a diamond on my wedding band was missing.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
It was just like a gaping hole, and I was like, "What the heck? Where could it be?" And I'm like thinking back, I hadn't left the house that day. I didn't notice that it was missing like earlier in the day, so I'm like, this must have happened at some point this afternoon. So I got down on my hands and knees and I was searching around on like our carpets and our floors. I couldn't see anything. I mean, granted, it's super tiny, but I figured that I could possibly find it. No luck. It's probably somewhere, I don't even know, in the vacuum at this point. I have no idea. But anyways, so I emailed the place where we got our wedding bands and he was like, no, it's fine. Like it's covered under the warranty. And so brought it in and he was able to fix it up. But yeah, definitely a scare there.
Well, at
That
least you got it fixed, but like so soon after your wedding too, that must have been very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, 100%. So it's okay. I have it back. We just picked it up yesterday and we're back in business. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I'm gonna have to be super careful with it. But now over to you, Tuesday. If you were the celebrity on the cover of a tabloid, what would it say about you this week?
My headline would say, The Crypt Keeper.
It makes me think of Freaky Friday.
Yeah, when the mom freaks out and she's like, "Oh, I look like
Like
the
the
Crypt
Crypt
Keeper."
Keeper.
Yeah, that's how I feel because listen, most of my classmates in my master's program are about 5 years younger than me, and I only just turned 27. But when my classmates found out my age, some of them were really surprised. Like one of my new friends told me, I can't believe you're 27. You're almost the same age as my 30-year-old sister. Okay, you guys, I really hope this doesn't come as a shock, but 27 is not 72, okay? And I just know some of our listeners who are older than us are probably rolling their eyes at this right now, but yeah, I guess these are just the tales from the crypt.
Hey, 27 is not old, and we feel and look young, and that's all that matters.
Truly. Well, whatever. It's time to embrace our 90s baby spirit and get into today's subject.
Cue the music. Ashlee Nicole Simpson was born on October 3rd, 1984, and is 4 years younger than her sister Jessica. And her birthday's next week, so happy birthday.
So, Jessica got her start as a 17-year-old singer in the late 1990s, and based on what she wrote in her 2020 memoir, Open Book, their dad was basically the one pushing for Jessica's success. He was very money hungry and wanted Jessica to be the star of the family.
Jessica's label tried to market her as a Barbie with a voice like Whitney Houston, but she wasn't as popular as Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera, who, of course, were dominating the pop charts at the time. That being said, by the early 2000s, she was still selling millions of records and her career was doing pretty well.
After about 2 or 3 years into Jessica's music career, Ashlee got her start as one of Jessica's backup dancers, and you can spot her in a couple of Jessica's music videos, including the one for her 2000 single, I Think I'm in Love with You. She then ventured into acting, had a recurring role on the show Seventh Heaven in 2002, and then she later got a job as a VJ on MTV in 2003.
A little side note here. Do you remember that search for the new VJ show that was on?
Oh my God,
I think it was Much
yes.
Music. I
Yes.
just thought of that and I had to mention it because I loved that show. A little throwback. And of course, as discussed in our Newlyweds episode, in 2002, Jessica married Nick Lachey from the boy band 98 Degrees, and they starred in the hit MTV reality show Newlyweds. The show's success propelled Jessica further into stardom, and that helped Ashlee gain more attention as well.
Because Newlyweds was an instant hit, both Jessica and Ashlee became household names, and Ashlee was pretty quickly offered her own spin off show. Production for that started a few months after Newlyweds premiered, and The Ashlee Simpson Show premiered on MTV in 2004.
The basis of the show was that Ashlee wanted to show the public who she really was and end any comparisons between her and her sister. Episodes centered around her recording her debut album Autobiography, as well as her relationship with then boyfriend Ryan Cabrera.
Okay, also, can we talk about Ryan Cabrera for a second? I loved him so much. I had a big crush. Also, loved his hair.
Oh my gosh, I know. His hair was truly iconic.
On the way down, I almost fell right through, but I held on to you.
So, what did you think of Ashlee when we were younger?
So I didn't actually watch her show, but I did listen to her album Autobiography religiously. I totally rocked out to Love Makes the World Go Round and La La on my boombox in my bedroom when I was younger. No shame. Except now I'm realizing just how disturbed my parents must have been when they heard me singing La La.
Oh, yeah. I learned from an older girl at summer camp what Lala actually meant.
You make me wanna lie in the kitchen of the store. I'll be your French maid. Where are you at the door? I'm like an alley cat. Drink the milk of my wound.
Yeah, definitely not very subtle. Were you a fan?
Yes, girl, I loved Ashlee Simpson. I thought she was so real and so cool. And I remember getting the impression that Jessica was the dumb one. And even though I like some of Jessica's pop singles like With You, I was way more into rock around the time that Ashlee made her debut.
Yeah, she definitely gave off Avril Lavigne vibes, in my opinion, especially when she shocked everyone and dyed her hair jet black during the second and final season of her show.
Oh, 100%. Everyone thought of Ashlee as being the edgier Simpson sister, and she was branded as being the anti-Britney. Also, weirdly, Ashlee's first name is actually spelled with a Y at the end, but I'm pretty sure her team made her change the spelling to end with double E's to make her seem more unique, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like she desperately wanted to set herself apart from Jessica and make a name for herself, and she hit this home in her single Shadow. The lyrics are notably dark and are supposed to explain the sisters' rivalry.
Which supposedly never existed because both Jessica's and Ashlee's teams are said to have purposely created this narrative that they were in competition with each other. Ashlee had a better chance of making it in the business if she was the polar opposite of Jessica. But anyway, in the song Shadow, she describes feelings that she apparently had when she was younger about living in Jessica's shadow and feeling like she had to follow in her sister's footsteps. And in an interview and in the song itself, Ashlee said that she felt second best and unloved by her family.
She mentioned that she was battling inner demons and the voices in her head were basically just telling her that she wasn't good enough. But despite all this, she said that the song is about loving yourself and coming to terms with who you are. She was pretty good about sticking up for herself and making a good impression on her fans when it came to body image, at least at the beginning of her career.
I remember she was frequently made fun of for how her nose looked, and she would always give the same quote when asked about it. She'd say, I like my nose. I think it has character. Kind of like how Jessica was always quoted as saying, I'm not dumb, I'm ditzy.
Yeah, it's how they were marketed.
Ashlee was later labeled a hypocrite, though, when she eventually got a nose job around 2006. Now, okay, let's get one thing straight. There is nothing wrong with getting plastic surgery, whether you need it for medical reasons or whether you're getting it just to feel better about yourself. But if you're a celebrity and you get work done, you have to brace yourself for public scrutiny no matter what.
For sure. I think her fans were upset because not only did she preach about needing to love yourself, but she was always fairly outspoken about how she was against plastic surgery and didn't want to look like quote unquote conventional beauty.
Now, this highly publicized nose job, along with her dyeing her hair back to blonde, happened very shortly after her career plummeted following a disastrous performance in 2004.
Yes, the infamous Saturday Night Live lip singing scandal in October 2004. Ashlee was a musical guest on the show, and she was caught lip singing. Basically, what happened is the vocal track of her first performance of the song Pieces of Me was replayed for her second performance of another song.
And then she did this weird little dance for a few seconds before she ran off the stage.
Yeah, watching the clip, it's so hard not to experience secondhand embarrassment.
It's so funny. And at the end of the show, she appeared with host Jude Law and she said,
I feel so bad my band started playing the wrong song, and I know what to do, so I thought I'd do a hoedown. I'm sorry.
She later said in an interview that she was advised not to sing due to acid reflux, but nobody bought the excuse.
I still have a newspaper clipping about this, and it made headlines everywhere. So people were outraged because, one, they were already critical of her being an inauthentic rock artist, and two, because SNL is a benchmark for showcasing live music. And she really couldn't catch a break. People were very unforgiving about this scandal, so much so that she got booed off stage at the 2005 Orange Bowl halftime show. Although it was objectively bad. She sang a very off-key rendition of Lala.
It's extremely cringy. I mean, the song itself is her basically just yelling in a whiny voice, but this performance was completely disastrous, especially since it was just a couple months after the SNL incident.
But despite losing public support, Ashlee continued on with her music career. She released her second studio album called I Am Me in 2005, which actually did pretty well, and it debuted at the top of the Billboard 200.
Fun fact, after years of rumors and Ashlee beating around the bush about the meaning behind I Am Me's lead single Boyfriend, she finally confirmed in 2018 that the song is about Wilmer Valderrama and his ex-girlfriend, Lindsay Lohan.
Valderrama rhymes with drama because that's what he is. Okay, look at this guy's dating history, very sus. Now, for reference, Lindsay and Wilmer started dating in May 2004. They got engaged in September that same year and then called it quits after just 2 months. And then he was linked to Ashlee the next year.
Rumors circled that he and Ashlee had been together for almost a year at that point, but both denied that their relationship had anything to do with his breakup with Lindsay. Ashlee said it was purely platonic.
Her dating life was always in the spotlight. I remember she had all the emo kids mad when she started dating Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy. So they got married in May 2008 and they welcomed a son named Bronx later that year. And she also released a third album in 2008, but it didn't do as well as her first two. And I think it's because she couldn't promote it much because of her pregnancy.
Then Ashlee and Pete had a very messy and very highly publicized divorce in 2011. But okay, let's go back a few years before they even got together. I was shocked to learn that Ashlee starred on Broadway for some time.
Yes, so she was cast as Roxy Hunt in the musical production of Chicago and performed on Broadway for about a month in 2006. And then she returned to the stage in 2008, soon after marrying Pete, and performed in New York for 8 shows a week until 2010. So I actually wasn't aware of her busy Broadway career at the time either. I just had the impression that she fell off because of the SNL and Orange Bowl disasters.
Fast forward to July 2013, she started dating Evan Ross, son of singer Diana Ross. They were engaged by January 2014 and married in July. They have 2 children together, a daughter named Jagger Snow and a son, Ziggy Blue. That's right, you heard that correctly.
I think we need to do an episode on weird 2000 celebrity baby names, because there have definitely been worse.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's a fantastic idea. There are way too many.
Well, after all the ups and downs of her career, Ashlee seems to be living a very happy life with her family right now. And even though she's not as active in the celebrity world today, she's forever cemented in our hearts as our 2000s punk rock tween queen. Punk rock in quotation marks.
And that's our episode for today. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
And make sure to connect with us on Instagram at Naughty Girls Pod. We'll catch up with you again in 2 weeks. Bye!